Welcome to a tour of the bleak side of British football. These are the 20 most depressing stadium surroundings in the UK. Places where the matchday buzz vanishes the moment you step off the train. We're talking grey warehouses, lifeless suburbs, soulless retail parks, and crumbling concrete zones. These stadiums might have passion on the pitch, but outside, it's a different story. Let's kick off with 20. The New Den. Millwall's New Den is one of the few football grounds in London still clinging to its gritty, industrial roots, and it shows. Built in 1993, it was the first all-seater stadium built after the Taylor Report. But while it was modern for its time, the surroundings haven't aged well. The stadium sits in the middle of South Bermondsey, surrounded by rail tracks, grey warehouses, and shuttered factories. 19. Sixfields Stadium. Welcome to Sixfields, a stadium surrounded not by history or community, but by a retail park. Built in 1994, the ground sits awkwardly beside a bowling alley, a cinema, chain restaurants, and a giant car park. It's the definition of soulless suburbia. You don't walk to Sixfields through buzzing streets or past generations-old pubs. There's no real identity, no heartbeat. It might be one of the better-looking stadiums on this list, but Bolton's Tough Sheet Community Stadium feels like it's been dumped in no man's land. Built in 1997, it's surrounded by highways, car dealerships, and a retail park. The roads around it feel more like an office park than a football ground. While the stadium itself is sharp and well-kept, it's disconnected. 17. Cassim Stadium. This stadium is stuck in a retail nightmare. Opened in 2001, the ground has just 3 stands. The fourth side is completely open, exposing fans to views of a leisure park, a bowling alley, and a gym. Surrounding it are vast car parks and soulless buildings. The Cassim is football in a business park, and it feels it. 16. Priestfield Stadium. This is one of the oldest stadiums still in use, but its surroundings have faded badly. It's wedged in a worn-out residential zone with tired terraces, boarded-up shops, and broken paving. The journey to the stadium feels like stepping back in time, but not in a romantic way. The area feels left behind, and on match days, the energy rarely rises above functional. Add in an uncovered temporary stand and some outdated facilities, and it's a stadium that mirrors its environment, clinging on, but with little shine left. 15. Keepmoat Stadium. This is modern, yes, but it's also miles from anything resembling charm. Built in 2006, it sits in a flat, featureless part of Doncaster, near a lake and a retail park. The stadium's design is smart, but the surroundings are cold and vacant. There's no hum of pre-match life. You park, you walk, you enter. That's it. No historic pubs, no local buzz. Just tarmac and metal. It's a prime example of how new doesn't always mean better. 14. London Road. Now branded the Weston Homes Stadium, it is an old ground in a drab location. It's surrounded by aging warehouses, dead-end roads, and patches of neglected space. The stadium itself is slowly being modernized, but its surroundings still feel stuck. There's little to do, nowhere to linger. Even the city center is a long walk away. It's not a place that invites exploration. It's a get-in, get-out kind of match day. 13. Highbury Stadium. This is a small ground in a small seaside town, but instead of coastal charm, you get dated housing, quiet streets, and a strange emptiness. Fleetwood's Highbury sits in a sleepy part of Lancashire. There's little buzz, few pubs, and barely any energy. It feels like a training ground that accidentally became a stadium. Even the locals seem half surprised football happens here. 12. Broadfield Stadium. Just off the A23, Broadfield is easy to miss, and that says a lot. The stadium is boxed in by business parks, roads, and fields. No pubs, no visible life. Just an awkward car park entrance and the hum of nearby traffic. It lacks atmosphere even when the crowd is up for it. This isn't football in the community, it's football in a service road. 11. Moor Lane, the Peninsula Stadium. Salford's rise has been rapid, but the surroundings haven't caught up. Moor Lane is wedged into a tight residential area full of old semis and back alleys. There's no grandeur here, just a stadium trying to grow in a space that wasn't ready for it. Parking is a nightmare, and the matchday walk feels more like a school run. 10. Globe Arena. Out by the sea. Sounds romantic, right? Not quite. The Globe Arena is wedged on a bland industrial edge of Morecambe, behind a caravan park, near the back end of nowhere. You can smell the salt in the air, but it's not refreshing. Wind howls in off the Irish Sea. The stadium feels isolated, like it's been left behind by time and fans. 9. The Hive. Barnet FC doesn't play in Barnet anymore. That says it all. The Hive sits in a weird zone between Harrow and Cannons Park, where it's surrounded by, well, nothing. Just railway tracks, empty fields, and silence. The stadium itself is neat and tidy, with modern stands and training pitches. But the vibe? Cold. Lifeless. It feels more like a sports science lab than a football ground. 8. New York Stadium. Inside, it's one of the best designed small stadiums in the country. But step outside, and boom, you're in a concrete wasteland. The New York Stadium is crammed between dual carriageways, roundabouts, and old rusting warehouses. Welcome to Rotherham's post-industrial scars. Built in 2012, the name New York comes from a former foundry that sat on the site, not a dream of glamour. 7. Colchester Community Stadium. Dropped like a Lego brick beside the A12, the Colchester Community Stadium is a textbook case of retail park banishment. No pubs, no terraces, no real homes nearby, just wind, weeds, and the odd Costa coffee. It opened in 2008, but it's never felt like a real football ground. The walk from the nearest bus stop is long and soulless. 6. St. Andrews. This is a big stadium with a proud history, but it's trapped in a grim shell. On one side, industrial units and scrapyards. On the other, empty lots and decay. The air smells of old metal and diesel. The club's been around since 1875, and the current ground dates to 1906. But years of neglect show. Paint peels. Concrete crumbles. 5. Vale Park. This sits in the middle of Burslem, a town that time forgot. Once a hub of pottery, now a sea of shuttered shops and old factories. Built in 1950, the stadium was meant to be the Wembley of the North. It never lived up to the name. Today, it's surrounded by dereliction. Streets lined with empty pubs, boarded-up windows, and tired terraces. 4. Boundary Park. This is famous for one thing. It's cold. Very cold. Sat high on a hill in Oldham, it's exposed to every northern wind that blows. Even in spring, it feels like winter. But the setting is just as bleak. Surrounded by tired estates, empty shops, and industrial leftovers, the stadium reflects the decline of a once proud town. Oldham's Premier League days feel a million miles away. 3. Agborough Stadium. The venue is tucked away in a pocket of Kidderminster most people never see. Surrounded by factories, garages, and dead-end roads, it feels almost hidden. There's no natural footfall, no buzz on match day, just the odd train rumbling past. The stadium itself is old school, charming in parts, but that charm is lost in its setting. Even success on the pitch struggles to lift the mood. 2. Crown Oil Arena. This is another case of a club fighting against its surroundings. It's set in a suburb that's seen better days. Rows of tired houses, a handful of corner shops, and not much else. Even the walk to the ground feels flat. Few signs of matchday energy. Rochdale has spent years bouncing between League One and League Two and now sits in the National League. 1. CNG Stadium. Harrogate is a lovely town. The CNG Stadium isn't in the lovely part. Tucked behind rows of semis and sleepy streets, it feels more like a local cricket ground than a professional football venue. It's neat. It's tidy, but it's also dull. The stadium's hemmed in by houses and hedges. There's barely room to breathe, let alone build an atmosphere. And there you have it, 20 more stadiums where the surroundings suck the joy right out of the game. Places where football is surviving, not thriving. In the end, atmosphere isn't just what happens inside the ground. It starts on the streets, in the pubs, on the walk-in. Lose that it never truly feels like home. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more.